Oh, welcome back to the Morning Blend. Yep. I think this is every homeowner's worst nightmare. What appears to be just a small, insignificant problem, like say some chip paint, yep, check that out, turns out to be a much larger, bigger problem that's got expensive repairs involved to fix it. All right, since the weather is generally nicer in the summer, it is the perfect time to get outside and start inspecting your home.
Time to do it. Joining us now to help you spot some of those problem areas are Todd and Todd from WeatherTight. Good to see you guys.
Hi, guys.
Yes. Okay, so that video, I think that should freak people out.
Oh, it's scary. Yeah, it just so happened that before we started poking and prodding around in that wood, you could hardly tell that there was any rot underneath there. The paint was covering everything. It actually looked pretty decent.
Yeah. So that's what you suggest is this time of year, because it's nice out, get out, walk around, and what should you be looking for? If you really couldn't see that, what are we supposed to notice?
Right.
Well, if you see it like a small piece of rot, it's a good idea to get a screwdriver or something and just poke in it to see if it's soft. And if it's soft and it goes in, or your finger goes in there, it usually means that there's more rot underneath.
You're not making it worse by doing that, right? You're just allowing yourself to be able to fix it.
You just have to see how bad it is.
You need to find out,
Right.
because in this case, what you saw there, we had to take that whole wall apart.
Because that looked like it was under a beam.
Wow.
Like
Yeah.
a support beam.
The whole
Yeah, it
thing
was.
was completely eaten out by ants.
That's what I was going to ask you. Is it generally water or is it ants?
Well, the water gets in and soaks the wood, and then the ants
Are
eat the
attracted to
wood.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
That's where they go in, they start nesting and eating, and right.
Yeah. So important, good time of year to be around inspecting things. And there are
Right.
things like the chipping paint, the peeling paint like we just looked
Right.
at that are signs of rot and damage. But those are the kinds of things we should be looking for as the weather's nicer and we get a chance to walk the perimeter of our house.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, you just don't want to ignore it.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of people, I don't want to really look at that because it might cost me money, but it's going to cost a lot more money later down the road if you don't take care of it.
Well, not only that, some of it looks really insignificant.
Right.
And people say, oh, it's not that big of a deal. I can let that go for another year or two.
Yeah.
But we really,
Catch it early.
yeah, you want to tell homeowners that as soon as you see anything that looks like there's peeling paint or cracking paint chips or anything, call someone out and take a look at it right away.
Well, how can you kind of protect yourself against previous building errors or just kind of construction that's done maybe on your home that's creating challenges? How do you figure that out, and how do you make sure that what do you do about it?
Well, if you're buying a new home, have an building,
An inspection done
inspection
beforehand.
done before you
Right.
get into the house, so you can identify those things that might be problems.
But the challenge is when some of those projects are done incorrectly, you really don't know until it's too late.
Right.
In this case, where we were taking that sill out on that home, we had absolutely no idea. That homeowner simply was replacing their back door. And the deck happened to be flush with the door. So every single time it rained or snowed, the
water would pile
water and the snow would pile up on that sill and rot everything underneath. When we took that apart, that was a very, very large ant infestation down underneath that. And it affected that whole wall.
Yeah, it's amazing what water and insects can do. That's a bad combo.
Yes,
Right.
it is.
What's the difference between a 3-seam corner on a gutter, for example, and one that's mitered and the corner is done that way, and how it affects your home as well as its foundation?
Okay, on this particular home, they had a factory-made corner, which has a seam right on the edge to begin with, and then you have to put an additional gutter on each side of that. So it turns out that there's 3 seams on that corner. And we don't recommend that anymore. When we replace gutters, we hand miter and create just 1 seam per corner on each home, so you've got 3 times less seams all the way around your property.
And it affects it down to the foundation
Well,
sometimes.
if you get a leak and it's draining down there continuously when it's raining, it's going to cause damage to the foundation, or it's going to cause damage to the wood that's underneath it.
yeah.
Jeez. Okay, so I feel like everybody at home is kind of freaking out.
Yeah.
Because
I'm freaking out.
right? And I'm thinking about my mom's house and the fact that, and sometimes, this time of year, it's sort of often, but you'll see ants
Right.
and things like that. So is there a way to prevent an insect infestation? And how do you know when it's just like you've got some ants versus it's a problem in your foundation?
Well, first
Right.
of all, ants are attracted to moisture. So if there's water leaking and soaking into wood, ants are going to find it.
Yeah.
But you can have an exterminator come and prevent ants from building their nests but you want to get to the root cause, which
Will
is
you always see them first? Will you always notice ants?
In this case, we did not
we
see
didn't see
any
it
ants.
until we started
it makes me
peeling
itch.
this apart, and it is just incredible.
That area that was affected on that home was maybe 15 to 20 feet total, where there were ants infested in that wall. And when we were standing outside talking while the project was going on, there were no ants crawling around the house at all. You couldn't see anything.
Freaks me out.
Wow.
I know.
Yeah. I want to talk about windows too, and the age of windows, because we also have some video of that. Because I wonder if the age of the windows matters. This is the one that we were looking at here. Or can the issues kind of happen at any time, regardless of how old the windows are?
In this case, these were replacement windows that were done only within the last 10 to 15 years, so it was a
Really?
relatively new
Yeah.
project.
Yeah.
The issue there was that the gutters with the 3 seams were leaking,
And the roof was leaking.
and the roof was leaking, and the homeowner didn't know it. It was seeping down underneath the wood. The paint was covering it very well. They didn't have significant
There was some
exposure.
signs.
Yeah, there was a little bit. There was some cracks and peeling of paint, but it wasn't a lot. But when we started poking around, that's when we found out really
it
how
wasn't
bad
from
it
the
was.
windows. The windows were fine.
Yeah. They
Yet
were.
it ruined the windows?
Well, the windows were still okay.
They were in
but
decent condition.
By the time everything had to be ripped apart and rebuilt, it's like, do you want to
Right.
put
Want the
those
same
old
ones.
windows back in?
So we
Yeah.
just
You might
replaced
as
the
well
windows.
upgrade.
Right.
So.
So will you guys come out and take a look at people's houses, or how does that work?
Yeah, we did.
Are you free today?
In-home consultation? Can you make a trip to Minnesota to my mom's?
Well, we won't go to Minnesota right now, but we do
We're working on that.
free estimates, so we're willing to go out and take a look at any concerns that homeowners
Yeah, there's no
have.
cost to get an inspection.
And
Okay.
you offer a discount with volume, right?
Yes, we do. Correct.
So the more projects somebody has to do,
Right.
but I think that's really nice because some
Yeah,
people have a
I
lot
find
of work that needs to be done. So I
Yes.
appreciate the fact that you kind of discount it that way, where the more you buy, the more you actually save,
Right.
which is wonderful. You mentioned the free in-home consultations. And is it you guys who actually visit sometimes?
We do go out sometimes, depending on the type of project. Yes.
Okay.
But everybody is named Todd.
Yeah.
So don't worry
Everybody
about it.
works for
WeatherTightCorp.com. The phone number was on your screen. It's just all Todds.
Yeah.
They're all Todds.
Great
Thanks
to
so
see
much,
you guys.
All right. Thank you.
so
Good to see
much.
you.